Bitcoin is trading at $86,500. Let's take a look at the charts and let's see what is going on. So grab your favorite beverage. Let's dive in. As you can see here, weekly chart of Bitcoin here with the 50-week moving average, a simple moving average here in blue. Now, so let's start off by saying technically we are in a bull market or a high time frame bullish trend as long as the price of Bitcoin stays above the 50-week moving average, as you can see it has been doing up to now. You can go back and you can look on this chart. Even in the last cycle, as long as it stayed above, we were in a bullish market. But once you lose the 50-week moving average, that is when things start to look bad, and that is when it's likely that the high time frame bullish trend is completely over. Even in the same way in the 2017 cycle, you can see as long as it was above the 50-week moving average, the price was simply it was in a high time frame bullish trend. But once we lost the 50-week moving average, the price dropped another 50% over the period of another 12 to 24 months. Okay, so that is basically what the data suggests and what the high time frame suggests. So you can see currently that line in the sand is just about $76,000. And about 2 weeks ago, we got very, very close to that. We dropped to the low was 76,600. So it's basically touching this. And we are now in a position where we have had this bearish RSI divergence on the weekly chart, right, where it made a higher high but a lower high here, in the same way that it marked the cycle top in the previous cycle. We have had that corrective pullback. So you can see that bearish divergences on the RSI on higher time frames like daily or 3-day or weekly, they tend to at least have a pullback, if not a complete market reversal. Now, so far, we might be lucky and we might still hold this 50-week moving average. If we can do that over here, then there is still a chance that we have another run-up until maybe the end of the year. So it is completely possible we may still have something like this, where we could still see new all-time highs this year, as long as the price remains above the 50-week moving average. That is the key. That is the line in the sand. So we could retest it. Okay, we could go back down to this level. We might even just slightly touch below it, but we shouldn't go below it. We shouldn't get a weekly close below that. If this is the case, then we might get lucky, like I said, and we might continue to new all-time highs, because there is still a window where in the previous bull market cycle, like for example over here, this peak was the complete Bitcoin peak for the previous cycle. That came about 18 months after the halving. In the same way that this peak in 2017 came about 18 months after the Bitcoin halving. Now, the Bitcoin halving was last year in April of 2024. So 18 months after the halving puts us at around October, November, maybe December of this year, which means that as long as this 50-week moving average holds, then maybe you can see something like this would put us at around about October, November, maybe December of this year. So maybe we get something like this with a triple touch divergence. Okay, so we might see something like this where this goes up again one more time, makes another lower high, while this makes a higher high, and then maybe it's game over. Okay, maybe after that we see a complete 2-year bear market once again. That might take us, I would say it's somewhere into the 40s or 30s, next bear market low. Something like this would not be impossible at all, which means that if this happens, number one, we would still get a new all-time high this year for Bitcoin. Number two, we probably get a very nice and decent pump in altcoins. Maybe not as crazy as the previous cycle due to the amount of coins that are here now in the dilution, but we would maybe finally get that pump that we're looking for in the utility altcoins that haven't really moved much. So maybe we finally get a 3, 4, 5x across a lot of those altcoins if Bitcoin does this, which would obviously be very, very nice for us. But then you also have to remember, if we do get this and we get lucky enough that we see a new all-time high in Bitcoin and a nice pump in altcoins, you need to remember that will be very likely the last chance before a massive, massive dump. And obviously you've seen what happens now if you don't sell. See how much altcoins drop. Even Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin is down, what does it call it, 25, 30% from its highs. Next time it's probably going to drop 50, 60% if we really go into a bear market, which means if you buy the top or if you don't sell, you will get absolutely wrecked. So short term, just focusing on the weekly Bitcoin chart, this is what I'm looking at. As long as the 50-week moving average holds, we have a window until potentially October, November, December of this year where the price could go higher and price could make a new all-time high, which would also mean that altcoins would end up probably doing pretty well from this point onwards, since they've sold off so much since this previous correction over the last couple of months. But we are now also at 86,000, and what is important to note is that we haven't yet gotten into the clear yet. We need to get above 94,000 for things to start getting interesting, which is the breakdown point of this level. Okay, it's very simple. This level where we've been above for so long, that is the breakdown point. And it's around about 93, call it 94,000. We need to get above there for things to start to get interesting again. As long as we're below there, this could just still be a complete just dead cat bounce or a little bit of a bounce before continuing lower. So those are the levels to watch. We need to flip 94 to get bullish again. We need to stay above 76 to stay bullish. Below 76 would probably be a new bear market. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next video.